and welcome to Red Rook. And we're gonna discuss a Netflix film called Bright.
Are you ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
You've probably seen the trailer or something about it since they advertised the heck out of this. Much more than I've ever seen Netflix advertise anything, honestly.
True. Because it had a big budget.
Yeah, it's their first big budget film. It was starred Will Smith and oh my God.
Oh man, what's his name?
Joel Edgerton.
Yes.
Thank you, Carlos. And
I thought it was Egerton.
it's also pretty split, I've noticed, between like nerdy people and moviegoers and what they like. Critics weren't really big on it.
Fans were off though.
Critics are really off. I don't know what they want.
They don't know shit. That's
Yes.
Yeah, critics are.
That was my outburst of the
Critics,
episode.
man.
But I would like to
They
say
don't know shit.
I thought it was a fantastic film.
Windows up. Drive it like you stole it.
Put on the gas, hit the motor.
And I would like to hear what these two people have to say about the film
It's
themselves.
terrible. No, I'm just kidding. I liked it.
Tell us why you liked it.
I liked it because I did not expect to like it. And I love, and I expect to like pretty much everything, but I saw the preview, just wasn't feeling it, wasn't feeling Will Smith. He's very like hit or miss for me. He's one of those that I'm either going to love that movie or hate that movie. And so for this reason, even though I like Joel Edgerton, and I really just, I was like, I don't know. I think Netflix is going to screw the pooch. And they didn't. So I liked it because it was good action, good story, very believable looking creatures. You know, they weren't corny
True,
looking.
I didn't think about that.
So
CGI
definitely
makeup effects
the
all
makeup,
really
CGI, really good. And I was interested in the story, and they left you wanting more. Like, not so. It wasn't so much that they just like forgot to tell you a bunch of stuff. It's like, hey, we're gonna explain this later.
I would honestly like to talk about that. A lot of complaints I get online that I've read comments of people talking about the film is, hey, yeah, why didn't they tell us more about the Dark Lord or what happened 2,000 years ago or something about this? And I was like, none of that was. Everything they gave you was important to the story you were telling at the time.
Yep.
All that other stuff is cool, and I want to find out about it too, but it wasn't important to this story. Like it wouldn't have added or gained, or like it probably would have taken away from it if we just spent time, doing exposition
It's
for a long time.
kind of like us talking about like modern medicine. We're like, well, bubonic plague. This was what happened there, and it goes on. No, you don't need to know all that.
You don't always need to know everything. Yeah, I think they did a great job of giving us just enough so we know how these characters react in their world.
They did. I agree. And I like movies where they just throw you in and kind of you're submersed in that world.
Yeah, world building was great. And me and Carlos love movies that happen in one day. And Carlos will tell you about that right now because he's really a big fan of that stuff.
Yeah. What? Die Hard.
Yeah.
There's so many.
There's so many.
There's so many.
I really love Nick
Adventures
and
in Babysitting.
Adventures in Babysitting. I really love Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. I love that movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Movies that happen in one day.
Training Day, which is kind of like
Day, yes.
This kind of inspiration for
can
this
be
one.
really awesome. If you get the whole story out in that day, it just makes it seem really freaking interesting.
And it provides a little bit more of a good pacing of everything. If it's going to take over 3 days, you focus more on like the third day or the third act and all that. But this one was like all the way through from in the morning all the way through nighttime.
Yeah, morning when he wakes up and then he goes
great.
up through when they're
Baby's
done.
Day Out. Sorry, I just wanted to think of one. These guys.
And you thought of Baby's Day Out?
Yeah. I was like, I know.
I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. I get it.
Throw it in.
But when Caleb was all like, oh, let's see Bright. I'm like, oh yeah, Will Smith. And I'm with Elizabeth. It's hit or miss. And then I kind of read synopsis on it. I'm like, oh, it takes place with orcs and stuff. All right. And completely immersed. Loved it. A lot of the practical effects were awesome. Especially, we can do spoilers or anything like that?
Yeah, no, it's cool. We're going to do spoilers from here on out.
So the wand effect, when they actually encounter it, because they talk about it for half the film, and they finally reveal it, the MacGuffin. They finally reveal it, and you're expecting Harry Potter bullshit.
Yeah. But
They're
no, this one was all, hey,
expecting,
don't say bullshit
yeah.
in the same sentence as Harry Potter anyway.
I
Yeah, so
will,
Harry Potter
And I'll
bullshit.
continue.
And
Lord of the Rings, maybe the staff and like that, but it was an actual like just a glowy thing, you know. And when it held it, it actually took over the camera work and everything to where it actually shook up. So it's an old school camera technique to where you show that whatever character or
Yeah.
prop, it shows immense power and it's taking over what you see and what the characters see when it actually shakes the camera like that. So
And they did it
that
very
was
effectively.
Amazing.
They did maybe 3 to 5 times, I think, the entire film, and it was really awesome.
Oh yeah,
Every time.
and the fact that everybody was in awe of it.
Yeah.
That was great writing, everything.
And there's always the weakness in a lot of fantasy stories is, and sci-fi for that matter, is when you have a technology or magic or something that's not real, give it some sort of, if it's very important to the story, you need to give it some sort of weakness or some sort of problem. And the fact I love the idea that only a bright, which is very few people, can pick up and use a wand. And the only way you can tell if you can pick up and use a wand is to pick it up, and if you can't, you die.
Yeah, you explode.
That is very interesting, especially because they said the magic can do just about anything they want.
That's whatever you want. You want to be taller or shorter? You want $10 million?
You're not stealing that wine.
With it, as long as you know the right spell. So, oh man,
That was pretty cool.
so intense and so interesting.
So you gotta be a cocky motherfucker to even pick it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
you got to really believe, or be
You're
just
gonna blow up, yeah.
back cornered or something. It's
I have to
really
say, I'd be that
interesting.
person that would grab that wand.
Yes, we
Like,
know
hey,
you would.
it'd be worth knowing. Alright.
But if you do it, put like a used newspaper down. for,
Yeah,
like,
'cause the
next
light
person.
does.
For the next person.
Yeah.
Blood does when you clean it up easily.
No, bitch, I'll be a bright. So anyway, that was cool.
They're already greenlighting the second film.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
excited about
I
that.
heard they greenlighted a second and a third. Is that
Oh,
rumor?
that's great. That sounds like Netflix. Netflix
Yeah.
is good at that stuff.
I heard they were gonna do a whole little series thing.
We might be in a prophecy.
We're not in a prophecy. We're in a stolen Toyota Corolla.
There's been a trend recently in Hollywood, or a lot of complaints that people have about Hollywood, is that they do not take a lot of big chances. If they're going to spend a lot of money on a film, they want something that's going to be something they know is going to make money, which is why you have franchises
All these sequels
like
and
Star
remakes.
Wars and sequels, and that's why they're doing this, because they don't want to take chances, because a lot of they want to make sure they're going to make their money back. What I'm enjoying about Netflix right now, and some of the other streaming services are catching on, is they feel like they can take chances. And they took chances on the script because it's not an established universe. It's not something that people know about. They spent a lot of money on it, and it's awesome. And I want to thank them for doing that, and I hope they keep taking chances, because not
Go
everything they
Netflix.
do is awesome. But they do, Orange is the New Black, and they did
And
House of
Punisher,
Cards,
which is the best thing ever.
and a bunch of other stuff that, like, the Marvel TV series is freaking incredible. So
So Hollywood is like scared right now because
Yeah.
last year Amazon Studios won with
Oh yeah,
Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
uh,
oh my God.
Manchester by the Sea.
Yes.
There we go.
That's what she said. So it won. So Hollywood's like, no, it should be considered, and they don't want any of them considered. But now it's like, no, you can't avoid it. You
Yeah.
have to grow
Movie's a
Hollywood.
movie. Yeah.
You have to grow Hollywood. You
Yeah.
and the goddamn critics. I hate
Yeah,
them.
we're talking to y'all.
Yeah, critics
Stupids.
really. What do you want?
Is it because Netflix isn't on the screen? Is it because they're not putting anything on screen?
I
Is
think
that
it
why?
is.
Are you
I think
scared?
that's why they wanted to give it bad reviews.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Because I can't think of anything story structure wise that was. I'm not saying that you have to like it. I'm just saying I couldn't think of anything
I
story
didn't
structure
read the
wise.
reviews. I just saw it got bad reviews. So I don't know what they didn't like about it.
Or directing wise or acting wise. Nothing was bad in this film. Like, you couldn't say. There are movies I didn't like that were well made. That happens all the time. I wasn't a huge fan of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, but that's because it didn't remind me of the Batman that I loved. Not because they were bad movies. They were very well made movies that just didn't remind me. See? So if you said something like that, it would make sense. Critics, I don't know what the fuck y'all's problem are. Y'all just seem to just hate on everything.
Because y'all love The Last Jedi. We hated it. Or,
Okay, they hated it.
yeah.
A lot of Star Wars fans hated it.
I'm a big
a
Star
lot
Wars
of-
fan. Anyway, we're not gonna get into
A
this.
lot of new films that have been coming out, critics loved and the fans hate. And then vice versa, where the critics hated it and the fans loved it.
So
There's something not connecting right now. Are they being paid? Are they...
You think so?
Well, there you go.
Feels like a pretty big conspiracy if they're all getting paid because there's so many of them.
I mean, they're part of the media. The media, I mean, that's a whole thing going on right now. You can't really trust anything. So
I'm thinking some of them might get paid, and I think some of them are just followers. They read like some critics that say something.
They don't want to be that black sheep.
Yeah, they don't
want to be that one
Instagram.
person that likes Bright.
That's what I think happens. Yeah.
So it's a mix. Anyway.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Anyway, so my suggestion is to go see my favorite movie of 2017 that would give 5 Rooks out of 5, and that's the movie Bright. And I would like to hear what y'all would give it out of 5 Rooks.
Probably like 4 Rooks and a pawn, just because it's hard for me to
That's
give
still pretty high.
5. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
In fact, pretty high. That's really high. It's half a freaking thing away from a full 5. Oh, Carlos has to really think about
Well, now
this.
you know you're
I forgot the rating again. What was it?
It's
The
out of 5 Rooks,
Right.
and a pawn is a half.
What's a knight considered?
A knight would be, let's say, 3/4 of a rook.
And then 4 rooks and a knight.
Awesome.
Whoa.
Right above her. Right,
Yeah.
just like snuck up like this.
It's not competition, but yeah. I
It
mean,
obviously is.
Why is giving someone the most of winning? It doesn't matter. Anyway.
you would make it competition. just beating it to you.
Come back. We're going to do this more often. I believe next we're going to review The Punisher.
Oh, the Punisher.
So come back for that.
Sorry.
And
You
have
know
a
how I
good
feel about
time.
it already.
Also, check us out on Patreon. See you later. Thanks.